How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Pete's Carport, and welcome to part 3 of my W126 restoration slash fun build project. So to fill you guys in, I picked this car up about 2 years ago from the original owner, and my goal was to just flip it, clean it up, put it out for sale, and things just got too busy in my life. This was one of those things I had to put off to the side. And to skip forward about a year and a half, I pulled the car out to clean it up and kind of get a better look at it. And I realized I love this car. I fell in love with it again. And I said, let's go ahead and have some fun with it. So the first thing I decided to do as I was cleaning it up was give it a fun patina look. And the reason why, and that would be part 1 of these videos, which honestly I haven't even fully edited yet because there's so much to that first video, where I started off just cleaning this car down and then realized there was so much pitting and oxidation up underneath this aluminum, and I wanted to grind it down, and then I just took it like full patina, as you guys can see. Now, after that, I said I wanted to coat this with a gloss coat, and so I played around with different coatings and finally landed on a rattle can clear coat. So this is all rattle can clear coat. It is extremely dirty, but if you go back and watch that video, it came out amazing. It looks amazing, and I'm very excited about it. Now, skip forward to part 2, which is already out, and that is where I restored the original rims. So I didn't know what style rim I wanted to go with, and everything I was finding was either way too expensive or just didn't fit the style of this car, because the goal is to slam this car probably on the following video after this. So part 4 will probably be slamming this car. And I eventually said, you know what, these stock rims, I love the way they look. I wonder what they would look like if they were restored and just rattle can painted. And that is what we did here. So I went ahead and just gold painted and clear coated the center and polished out the lip. And that video is already out, and that'll also be linked in the description below so you guys can check those out. Now we're on part 3, and this is where things get really fun, because I've always wanted to straight pipe one of these old diesel cars. And if you guys haven't seen any of the stacked cars out there, there's quite a few people that have taken the downpipe from the turbo, cut a hole in the hood, and put a like a diesel stack right out of it. It's absolutely wild, and not something that I definitely wanted to do, but it's something that I've always thought looked really cool, and it's just so wild and a head turner that I wanted to do it on one of these old diesels down the road, and wasn't sure if it was going to be this car. I knew I wanted to at least straight pipe this car, probably something out the side, because it's pretty easy. You can cut it right in the middle, right before where the mufflers are, and take that downpipe right out the side, and it does sound good. There are a few videos out there, but the stack is just something so wild, and I figured this car's kind of a good candidate for that, considering that it needs so much work to get it back to something that is like pristine, but it's still in good shape, and it's still drivable, and this engine runs great. So why not do it? So I think we're going to do it on this video. The first step we're going to do is pulling off the exhaust from this downpipe from the turbo. So let me try to get in there and show you guys. Yeah, you can see it from this angle. So off the back of the turbo is a kind of flex pipe, and then it just goes down in a really pretty thick pipe. I want to say it's 2.5 inches, but we'll find out when we get it off. And then it just kind of goes to these 2 big mufflers off the side and then out the back. So what we're going to do is pull this thing off of the turbo and start it up and just see how it sounds before we do anything else. And if I like the way it sounds coming straight out of that turbo, we will play around with that stack, but I've got to get that pipe out of there because we're going to play around with welding. I've been doing quite a bit of welding lately, and I'm really enjoying it. I am not that good at it, but the only way to get better is by keep doing it. So I'm going to play around with getting a 90-degree angle, and we'll see what kind of stack pipe we can find, maybe at the auto parts store, maybe I'll order something on Amazon. But by the end of the video, we're either going to have a stack coming out, or I'm going to go with a little bit less of a risky type situation and do something out the side and kind of have that fun straight piped down pipe. So let's get started, see where we go with this. I'm going to start by getting everything out of here so we can access the turbo, unbolting the turbo, and then we'll take a sound check of this, I guess you can say, of the turbo just being opened up out the back. Right, guys, so I went ahead and pulled everything off the top, and I went ahead and unbolted the exhaust from the middle, and I could not believe how easy it was. I gotta love these Florida cars where all the bolts come right off, but you can see there I've got it separated, and this is just kind of hanging here, so if we take it off the flange from the turbo, it will just fall down. But for right now, I want to start it up, and ironically, I want to keep the air box off because it might sound a lot different with a just kind of cone filter on the front of that turbo. So I want to see what it sounds like with that open filter and the open exhaust. So let's go ahead and get it started up and see how this thing sounds. Well, honestly, it's a lot quieter than I thought, but let's get the camera down here and give it some revs. Hear how it sounds. So guys, I went back and listened to the recording and I am sold. We were going all in. We're putting the stack up through the hood because I think it sounded amazing. It wasn't overly obnoxious, which is what I was really hoping for. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. We're not gonna play around with trying to mount anything going out the side of the car. We're just gonna go all in. I'm gonna cut the pipe right now, right here, just to make it easier to remove everything. I took the bracket off. And guys, if this pisses you off, good news, you can stop watching now and go watch something else. And if you're excited about this like I am, keep watching because it's going to get fun. We're going to play around with this a lot more. And I got to tell you, we are definitely going to upgrade this to a bigger turbo down the road. I took a closer look and it's going to be a fairly easy thing to do, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I want to get this car on the road, drive it for a little bit before I have to pull it back off to do that type of modification. Cool thing is I have a sponsor lined up that if I get enough views on these videos, they're going to go ahead and sponsor the build to do the bigger turbo. So excited about that. But right now, let's get this stack put out the hood. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here just to be able to pull all of this out and go ahead and play around with welding because I love welding. It's something really fun, and the only way to get better is just keep doing it. So I'm going to keep practicing, and this is the perfect car, the perfect project to keep practicing on. So I'm going to get set up, cut this off with a Sawzall. We're going to pull this piece out, and I'll kind of fly through some of the welding process and then kind of show you guys how I'm going to cut the hood, get that all done. And we should be done pretty quick. I'm hoping to get this done today so I can enjoy it and listen to it. But I'll do some more clips in between of the sound before we get the thing completely done. And then at the end, I'll go ahead and show you guys how everything looks and sounds. I'm walking alone. Well, guys, what a pain in the ass it is to get this thing out the way that it is right here. And I could have taken it off from your flange here, these bolts, but I tried to get to one of these bolts, I think it was this one, and it started to strip a little bit, so I didn't want to get it stuck on there. I decided to just kind of get this whole thing out, and the only way to get it out is you have to get this piece off, and getting to this bottom bolt underneath here, I thought I could just take off the nuts that come through the studs here, but this bottom stud just would not slide over, so I had to take the whole thing off and then pull the whole thing out. And there's a pipe piece that goes into here, so it's going to be a fun one to get back in, but it shouldn't be terrible. Now, ironically, I thought, man, this would be so cool if how I cut this, I could just 90 that up, but it's just not going to be worth it because I'd have to cut this so many times to get the length I need. And I'm not that great at welding, guys. So this is going to be more of a fun thing for me to do where I can learn a little bit more about welding. I'm not trying to do anything advanced. So what I'm going to do is cut this back to where it's straight, go down to the auto parts store, and I think this size here is going to fit. And I think this is 2 1/4 pipe. So I don't know, maybe this is 2 1/2, and this piece here is a 2 1/2 flare that goes over. I don't know. I'm going to cut this, go down to the auto parts store, and then get a 90 to kind of come straight up. And if we need to cut back a little bit more, we will. But I know I need to come back quite a bit, especially if the 90 has, you know, the flared piece here and then doesn't really 90 to here. We're going to probably have to come all the way back to here with the piece. So what I'm going to do now is get this cut up. Going to go down and get that pipe, and I'll kind of fill you guys in while I'm welding. And then we'll talk about how we're going to cut this hole and line that up. Guys, I just got back from the auto parts store, and this is the 90 they had. Now, I wish it was a tighter 90, but we're going to have to just cut this one down because it's what they sell at AutoZone. And you can see here, this won't even fit down in there. So we're going to have to cut back on some of this piping, modify it, weld it, but it's all good because it's going to work. I know it. I can get it to work. Now, I also went ahead and put this flex flange back in. If you're going to do this, I highly suggest getting it off from these bolts if you can. And the only reason why I didn't is I was having issues stripping it out from the angle I had. But once I got the whole thing out, I was able to take that off, made it way easier to work with, getting this back in there. And now we can work on the piece that we have, getting that welded to this piece. And then we're gonna work on cutting out the stack. And I've got some ideas for that because there are many ways you can do this whole thing. And this is just one of them. So kind of giving you guys some ideas, and maybe you can take it from there. But we're going to cut this down now, get that to fit in there, and see where we're at.
She galvanized me, steady like steel, back on my feet, living for the thrill again, loving for another day. She satisfied me, gave me what I want, just what we need, never too far away. Loving for another day, but she asked for it. She asked for something more. She asked for it. Yeah, she asked for something beautiful. She asked for it. Yeah, she asked for it. She asked for it. Tell me what I did wrong, I plead. Never did I think we would be loving for another day. But she asked for it. She asked for something more. She asked for it. Yeah, she asked for something beautiful.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and test fit it. I went ahead and welded our little adapter onto our flange piece. And now we're going to weld these two pieces together like that. But I need to make sure everything's going to work before we go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and stick it together. First, obviously, make sure it fits down in there, which my measurements were good, and it does. Now, once we get it on there, it looks like we can position it far enough away from this hose here, which is for our heater core, but you can see it's already leaking if you haven't noticed that. So just moving this thing around made that leak a little bit, but I know we can bend this a little bit over so we're not so close to this rubber. Now the other thing I'm hitting here is our transmission stick line here. So what we probably could do is even bend that back a little bit. I don't want to bend that too much because then it's going to mess up if you're trying to get a reading on your transmission. So maybe I'll try to come further this way and weld it a little bit angled like that, so that when we get it down in there, we don't really have to bend. Yeah, this is not going to bend anyways, and I don't want to mess up. I could probably bend it just a little bit. It's not going to mess anything up. And this we can obviously move, slide over, or delete it completely. Honestly, I don't ever plan on using the heat in Florida, and we're customizing this car to pretty much be something that we're going to keep for a long time. And if I do sell it, whoever gets it is going to know this is just a fun car that's probably going to go to car shows and just be that head turner thing. So let's go ahead and get this welded up now. All right, guys, kind of one more fill in here. As you can see, I've got everything slightly mounted up there. I'm pretty happy with my welds, even though there's a lot of boogers on there. I was able to grind those down, and I don't see a whole lot of gaps or anything like that. So I'm gonna get a little bit of exhaust filler, fill it off, and we'll go ahead and paint that with high heat paint. And I think it should be really, really good because it's a solid weld on there. But because we pulled it over this way a little bit more so we wouldn't hit our transmission dipstick there, we are starting to hit. Our heater core hose line is definitely going to be in the way. Good news is we can easily reroute this. So one way we can go is go through our wall here, probably get some new hose line, and this hose goes through right down there and comes out and goes to another fitting right down there. So all I'm going to have to do is reroute it through here, around here, and down, and it will be completely out of the way and protected, and that'll allow me to slide off or stack just a little bit more. So let me get all this back apart so I can go ahead and get this painted and everything rerouted, and I'll show you guys how it starts to look. I went ahead and painted the pipe with a high temp gold. I think it came out pretty good, and filled it with muffler putty. That looks a little messy, but that's not gonna really be seen. So let's go ahead and get this put in. Also, the heater core hose line, I got that rerouted, so it's way out of the way now, and this is gonna fit in there nicely. We're gonna go ahead and get this in there, and then I'm gonna mark it so we can cut. And I've got a few different ideas. There's several different ways you can put this pipe through. One is mounting a piece on the hood. You know, you have your main hole with your smaller pipe coming up into that. That allows you to open your hood and close your hood without any issues. And if you go with a pipe through here, the higher you go, the more cutting you have to do, because you have to allow it to kind of come down, because obviously it's gonna come down wherever that pipe ends first, and then it's gonna pull back as it goes. So your hole's gonna have to be elongated. I wanna eliminate any elongated pipe, so it's either gonna be a short stack sticking out, or I'm gonna put a piece on top that mounts. Haven't 100% decided yet, but I'm gonna go down and look at a couple of different options after we get this hole made. So let's get the pipe in there and the hole lined up in May, and I'll probably fly through a lot of that. Wow, that's actually perfect. Spot on. Now, I'm gonna have to expand that obviously, but I wanted to see if I could get that centered for now, and then we can cut a larger hole. But dang, that is perfect. Look at that. Straight down on that. So guys, this is the exhaust pipe I was able to pick up from the auto parts store, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. I do have to fully mount it because I need to get some longer bolts that'll actually allow it to stay in place so I can kind of adjust the height. But right now I've got one bolt going into it and it kind of wobbles. So you'll see that as I shut it, once we position it perfectly, tighten up the locking bolts, when I get the longer ones, it's gonna fit there perfectly. Hood will go up and down and it's gonna look absolutely amazing. Now, I also was able to fit in the stock air box. I had to reroute the heater box line once more through this hole instead of this hole because it was too far over and the air box was kind of crimping up the line. So for safety, to know that it's going to work, I went ahead and just ran it further over. Now, I'm going to show you here. This should close, but because, oh, it's closed. And you can see there, it's just not set up sturdy yet. But once it's in the right position, that's probably want to go a little bit higher in height, but like I said, I still have to adjust that height. So I'm probably going to go up maybe another inch on that. Now the hood is not all the way down either. Oh, ironically, I just shut my light in there. So let me grab that out. Oh yeah, so that's more about the height. I might go up just a little bit on that. So I'm going to go ahead and start it now because I want to hear how it sounds without the air box. And then I'll go down and get those bolts, get everything tightened up. I'll pull it out in the sun so you guys can look at it. Because one more thing is, I don't know if I want to keep the chrome or if I want to paint it. So kind of let me know in the comments what you think. I'm definitely going to keep it chrome until I figure out exactly what I want to do. Because I do like the chrome. You know, there's still chrome accents all over this car that I'm not taking away. I'm not going to black out everything like I did in a lot of my other cars. So this does kind of match everything. And the final thing I need to do is sand down these edges, but I was very surprised at how smooth of a circle I was able to cut with that jigsaw. So if you're going to do this, I highly suggest cutting a hole first, like I did, a smaller one, so you know if you're even close to the right position, and that way you can make some adjustments and then use a jigsaw to cut it open, because this is aluminum. It's a little easier to cut than like a steel, so it does make it a lot easier to get that perfect circle. But let's go ahead and start up, see how it sounds. I'm pretty excited. Guys, I actually just blew the transmission line out. I think it's the line that goes to the cooler. But I'm going to clip in some of the videos because I had a lot of fun. I was actually trying to power brake just to get the revs up after the car warmed up. And wanted to get you guys some clips. And I came out front after doing it and saw this. So, and it's definitely transmission fluid. I put my hand down in it. But this thing looks awesome. This thing sounds awesome. It blew my expectations away. And I guess I'm going to end the video here because I was going to try to pull it out. Let me go ahead, get this hood open. It's kind of hard to do one-handed because you got to get, oh, I got it. To kind of give you guys an idea of how we're looking in here, because I got everything put back. Air boxes in there. The coolant lines, you can call them, that are going to the heater box are coming up here. Nothing seems to be leaking there. In fact, I thought this was coolant when I first started to walk around, and I was like, oh my God, that's oil. But it's definitely red. And this car, when I got it, had a transmission issue that I believe is related to the linkage having a broken piece on it. So we're going to have to drop the transmission pin anyways. But yeah, it looks like it's leaking right there. Somewhere from there. It's definitely from like a line coming up to the cooler up front, I believe they have. So that's going to be the next thing I have to look at. So we got to get this car running really well, especially now that it sounds like this, and it's going to be so fun to drive. I also aligned the exhaust pretty well. What I do need to do is cut this area out just a little bit more. Probably just grind it down. I can get it, you know, it's a little hot right now, but I can get it if I pull it a little bit. Let me grab something here. There you go. And it goes right in. Actually, I think that realigned it. Yeah, it's actually nice and stiff now. But I do want to cut it. You can see there, it's pretty much touching. So I want to cut it more around there and kind of smooth everything out. But outside that, I could not be happier with the way that this turned out. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I know this is going to piss a lot of you guys off that are enthusiasts, but if you made it this far, you're probably super excited about it because you wanted to see how it sounded, how it looked. And I think this one came out amazing. I don't think it looks super cheesy. I just think it has that, like, what the hell is that look to it? And I know it's going to be a head turner. So now we got to get this car running great so we can take it down the road, take it to some car shows, and finish off everything else I want to do. You guys have an awesome day, a blessed week. I'll catch you on the next video.